Welcome everybody to my proudest combo of mods in a while. Now, I don't need to tell you what the new Genesis mod is, everybody's been talking about it, and it's been recommended to me a million times. It is one of the best physics mods that I have ever touched. I played around with it a little bit for testing purposes, but yeah, those of you that watch my videos know that I always play with the vanilla physics because I don't think they're that bad, especially after Update 2's improvements. But this mod is cool because it adds momentum into the game, it removes the boost from the game, it puts a lot of focus on the spin dash, it makes the drop dash an actually useful move, but on top of all of its physics and control changes, it also changes your combats entirely. So, I don't know why, but they renamed the side loop to spin cycle even though it's the exact same move, but nearly every other move in the skill tree is completely changed. Like, homing shot is now cyber gatling, which you can only do during a cyber wave, which is basically just sonic boom. So now you can only do a homing shot if you're doing sonic boom. And you can only do a cyber barrage if you're doing cyber gatling. So when we called this a combo system, it really is a combo system. It's kind of similar to fighting games in a way. You can only do certain moves when you hit other moves. The input for this one is really interesting. Press X after the fourth normal attack and then triangle. EX Sonic. Merge with cyberspace to transcend limits. Increases attack power and range. See, this is interesting too because you can do Wild Strike into Wild Crash. Another mod that I'm using is the Starfall Island mod. Now what in the hell is that, you may be asking yourself? Well, for starters, it allows us to actually climb this wall, which you can't do in the vanilla game. Oh hey, Coco. But yeah, you can actually go up here now. And what's the point of going up here, you may ask? Well, there is a cyber portal here already, and you may be super confused right now, and that's good. This mod combines every single bit of Rhea, Kronos, Oranos, and the extended story Oranos into one open world map. And they've even added guardians to all of these empty locations. From what I can tell right now, New Genesis also changes the movesets of each of the enemies to make them less defensive and more offensive. Oh wow, you can't get rings from Psyloop anymore. That makes sense. And I have noticed too that they adjusted the difficulty of these guardians so that they fit Kronos Island since it's just the beginning island. Like, Beetle's usually a damage sponge. So one of the big features in this mod is like just the change of control. You have proper 360 movement with high-speed action in this mod, and of course the biggest focus is the spin dash because you no longer have the boost in your repertoire. I can't even boost at the moment. Can't do an air boost, can't do a ground boost, I can't do nothing. My speed movement is severely limited unless I'm using the spin dash, but the good thing is you can move in a full 360, you have full control over the spin dash, and that's all you really need at the moment. The slide button is now replaced with a different version of just curling up. It's kind of the same thing? I don't know, you can't really charge it the same way you can charge like the Sonic Adventure Spin Dash. Of course, I've also got Mello's Reanimated Frontiers and Sock's Rio Sonic, as well as the graphics enhancement, which is where this beautiful ray of light is coming from. Now, I'm excited to play through this today, because it's almost like I'm playing like New Game Plus Plus or Sonic Frontiers Definitive Edition, where the game is just completely improved. That being said, I'd love to try out some good old combats. I've unlocked the ability to actually run. Now, this isn't like the typical boost or anything, this is just the ability to get you started, to get your momentum immediately started. And a cool thing that you can actually do in Vanilla Frontiers is that you can cancel basically anything with your spin dash. So it's kind of fun actually changing up my punching and kicking combos to like hit him with the jump ball every once in a while. And just like a lot of other physics mods that use the spin ball, you can uncurl at any time by pressing the same button that you use to curl, which is pretty sick because you can transfer that momentum into your run. Oh my god. Sonic Colors Ultimate? Oh yeah, that's right, I can actually like air boost now, which is a cool thing because one of the things I love doing in Vanilla Frontiers is a stomp and a boost, and it gives you all of that momentum upwards and forwards. And the great thing about this is that you can still do that, which is not something I really expected because of how they wanted to butcher the boost as a whole. Oh yeah, also you can actually go fast on the rails now thanks to the dash ability. It's kind of fitting too that you don't have all your combat skills right away because the enemies are very weak early on. It really wouldn't be that fun to beat on really weak enemies when you have a whole moveset to use, you know? Now, another thing that I'm using here is the original cyberspace themes, and holy crap, all of this looks so raw with the cyber aura around Sonic going at top speed in this, like, vaporwave, bloody, dark version of the Sky Sanctuary levels. But I absolutely love that he gets a cyber aura and a cyber trail behind him in this mod visually because it fits with the lore of the game very well. Look at that like eclipsed moon in the back. That's so sick. Now, one of the best parts about this is you still have all the momentum in cyberspace, which will help out greatly with getting S ranks. And I believe he does get a similar aura to this in the overworld when he reaches top speed in that as well. But like, look how helpful that is, that you actually keep all the momentum from the downward slope. Now, one of the interesting things, you'll notice that I'm not using the Meg Dash at all. That is because it doesn't work in this mod, which some people could argue makes the game better, because now you have to like try a lot more in these stages, especially because they weren't designed with Spin Dash moveset in mind. You know, this is through and through kind of just a boost game, you know? Oh my god, you can actually see the tower spawning in the background of this animation. Oh, I love you real-time cutscenes. You're silly as hell. It's actually a lot more scary trying to dodge these missiles with this version of the moveset, because I can't just immediately boost out of everything. Oh, I love that actually. I was able to spam the stomp ability on tower because I was like continuously canceling it with my spin dash. The thing that I love about this mod is like what it represents. I think Vanilla Frontiers movement is pretty good, honestly. Like, I think this shows what people want the absolute most out of open zone Sonic gameplay. They want a mix between the boost games and the adventure games, you know? This is what people wanted a lot more than just being able to boost everywhere. The boost wasn't even a boost in this game, it was just the run button, like Lost World. And it's so easy to chain together a bunch of different enemies with one spin dash or one roll, just like you would expect from like a classic game or something. We're gonna get to the top of the hill here, and then we're gonna spin dash down, use all of that momentum, uncurl, and then here we are. It almost feels like the game's layout for Kronos Island, at the very least, was made for something like this. With just like all the slopes and like the twists and the turns, because here's the thing, running around with boost is actually a little bit difficult to be efficient sometimes, but with this, I can buttery smooth like turn to the micro degrees that I need to keep following this trail, because it's a narrow pathway here, you know? It also definitely helps that I'm using Starfall Island, because they take away a lot of like the slopes that cause you to slip and all the barriers for that kind of stuff. I can just run on the side of walls, which is a lot more in tune with how Sonic actually works. Yep, and this right here is a 2D level, and I'm very curious to see how these physics translate to 2D. So far it feels almost exactly as it does in 3D, which is exactly what you want. I don't know why it was so confusingly different in Vanilla Frontiers, but whatever. But something I was going to show off, actually, is they have multiple enemies placed in the same areas. So, you know, you have a sniper here, and then you have one of these guys. Snipers didn't appear until Ares Island, which is very interesting. Like, there's so many dips and hills in the specific beginning Kronos Island, man. And everything also, like, naturally transitions to wall running. You even have momentum on the wall running segments. That's really nice. I'm gonna use my good old dynamic HUD, and I'm gonna change over onto Knuckles. And all the other characters, thanks to the character normalizer mod, they have the same momentum physics as everybody else. I don't believe their combat has changed any. Oh wow, he can actually Meg Dash in the open zone. That's pretty cool. He doesn't have his infinite glide anymore. Wow, that looks really good with the individual rocks built into the side of the wall there. This is the original Oranos Island mixed with platforming elements from the DLC Oranos Island. And the point of this Starfall Island mod is to make the game more like what we believed it was going to be when it was first kind of announced, which was like a fully true open world Sonic game. And I mean, technically speaking, the open zone is open world, it's just smaller than what you typically see an open world as. This platforming is really fun, the way that all the platforms are moving. Boop. Like right then and there, that platforming segment was just for an extra Coco, which was from Update 2, not Update 3. Like you can see all the rails and the towers and the pyramid back there. You can even see a beetle in the background there, which isn't there in any version of the vanilla maps. And then this sends us off to this segment here, which never before really had platforming section. So it's kind of interesting to see all of these placed here in the first place, huh? Oh, that's interesting, actually. I'm fighting underwater? And as soon as you lock onto an enemy with EX Sonic, I guess it automatically gives you the Phantom Rush, which is very interesting. Oh, wait. An underwater Guardian fight is actually a really cool concept, because you can lose oxygen. But, like, wow, it's so interesting. This is the area that they chose to put all the floating blocks over as well. Which really looks cool because you got all of the water below everything that you kind of want to just, like, avoid, you know? So it makes sense that there's all of these, like, geometrical platforms above the water because the water can kill you, it can make you slower, all that kind of stuff. Like, it's actually kind of interesting. Like, I am gonna have to go back up for air. Boom! I heard that his clone came out, and I promptly dodged it. There we go. 1, 2, 3, 4. And the cool thing about the parry in this as well is that you can't hold it forever like you can in the regular game. Oh, this is the red variant as well. That's interesting. This has no right to be as fun as it is. It's bringing such an interesting amount of challenge to it with the geometrics of the boss arena and like my completely brand new moveset. And the whole aspect of, like, you can't hold parry forever, and you're underwater. And there's, like, all these slopes you can play around with your actual, like, rolling mechanics, too. Wow, that was actually really fun, dude. And I'm not just saying it because I'm recording the video. Like, I actually genuinely recommend this. What is going to happen? Oh, that's interesting. They even added, like, springs to this area. There weren't springs here before. So this is interesting because all of these platforming segments are from Oranos and DLC Oranos. Like, these are just vanilla platforming segments. Wow! They have a fishing portal here where all the water is. That is so fitting. That makes so much sense, dude. Wow! This definitely warrants its own playthrough. I 1,000,000% recommend that you do this on your own. Like this right here, I think is like a Final Horizon tower? Oh wow, and they even put a ghost boss fight here. That's devious. It's so easy to like stand on narrow pathways now too. Like the level of control you have over your character is so reliable. Because the whole game is built in mind with you like subtly turning at top speeds. But that's so interesting how they remix existing platforming segments. And they remix where like the portal locations are and where the fishing locations are. On the Starfall Island mod, there's actually 4 different fishing portals on this one big island. And this level right here isn't even from Kronos Island, from what I remember anyway. This is from like the 3rd or 4th world probably, but yeah. God, like how sick is it having the cyber aura around you, the cyber trail, and then you have the highway, the city theme, which is something that Sonic knows very well. Oh wow, his trick animations look so cool there. And of course, this is the infamous level where you're not really even able to like turn very well while boosting, which is like the weirdest way to design a level when you know that your player can't turn properly. But now I can turn anywhere I want, anytime I want. And these automated segments keep your exact speed that you have in the gameplay, so it doesn't actually feel stiff or feel off, which is really fun. Like look at this, I can casually weave around every single one of those cars instead of, you know, hitting them like you would in the regular game. Oh wow, there's an Osira over there. That confused me so much for a second because this platforming segment is from Oranos, and then I just see an Osira in the background, and I'm like, wait, that's not supposed to be here. Wow, the reanimated running that looks like an actual figure 8 is really good in this segment. Wow, this is really cool imagery. You have this awesome segment, which I think is from Final Horizon. And then you have the Osira trying to damage things in the back, and you can actually use the platforming segment to get to the boss and fight him. And I think one of the strongest features of Sonic Frontiers combat that sets it apart from other combat-based games is that you have all this like movement, and you can do lots of stuff with the environment, you know? God, and I love that they completely changed that homing shot animation too. So I think it's called like volley shots now or something, but it looks like he's like shooting a whole bunch of individual balls. I'm honestly quite overwhelmed, and that's probably my own fault for tackling such a huge mod all at once here. Oh wow, they even got the Tails platforming segments, which work surprisingly well with Sonic, especially if you have the faster homing attack rebound code. Let's see, does this work? Wow, surprisingly, this completely works with Sonic. Wow! God, and I also just always love the imagery. Oh my god, I didn't expect this to keep going. I expected myself to fall by now. This is raw as hell! I think it's incredibly impressive that someone put all the time in to not only just do traversal changes, but combat changes in addition to it all as well. Oh, that's interesting. They might have actually changed the accuracy rate of some of his moves so that it's harder for him to hit you with those missiles. That's really interesting, actually. Yeah, because in Final Horizon, these would immediately heat seek you and take you down. It also helps making this boss fight a lot easier to side loop things when you have the momentum already from your running, because you don't have to constantly keep boost spamming around these areas. Whoa, that's what that move is? That's what they replaced Cross Slash with? That's so cool. Yo! The aerial dodge jump to get out of the way of him smacking down his giant leg. That looks so raw. See, this is why I keep coming back to Sonic Frontiers. It's just cool to stare at. And all the meanwhile, you get to pat yourself on the back and say, yeah, I did that. Singular ring, but there's a trail of them over here, so I don't really have to worry as much. Like, that right there is the coolest part about Sonic Frontiers, is having that environmental level design mean something when you're actually fighting a boss. Because you have this whole big platforming playground around you that can aid you in battles. And ironically, this is also such a huge improvement on all of the Final Horizon enemies. Whoa, okay, dude. I was just trying to do a very simple, basic combo where I was going to do the Wild Strike into the Wild Crash after doing some of the projectile attacks, and that looked so much more violent than it needed to. If I'm being real, if I'm going to replay this game, it's either going to be full vanilla, no mods at all, or it's going to be like this, with remixed platforms, remixed bosses that don't make them complete damage sponges, and I can enjoy the more aggressive versions of the plus bosses. I can enjoy all of the unused areas because they now have platforming segments remixed into them. My playthrough of the entire first island might actually be the same playtime or more as the playtime I usually have on Chaos Island or Ares Island, which are much, much bigger islands. And that's cool too, like you can transition your weight from one of these ramps and you can just fly off of them, shoot off of them with your regular ass speed. Because in base game, you'd have to boost off of a ledge and it would launch you. But here, you just like have to just keep running. Oh, is this an actual Emerald Vault?
It's broken.
Oh, wait, that's actually really cute that they keep the broken Emerald Vault because there's only, you know, 6 emeralds to collect on each side world. Oh, hey, boss. Wow, they even got like the whole rail. They got the whole rail in the boss arena, which means that I can do some really cool stuff. Oh god, this guy is fast! Even when time slows down when you hit him. Cool thing about this is that when you use the stomp ability, he goes off screen and then he comes back down. It's just really abusing the physics of cartoon logic with that one. I'm gonna need to retreat and grab some rings, so I'm gonna launch myself off of that platform with my momentum. I'm gonna grab some rings and then I'm gonna come back. Every aspect of the game is so much harder now, but like in a fair and fun way. You can kind of like keep dodging him and tripping him up too with all the extra like platforming segments that are around everywhere. And then I can immediately follow up even that high in the air. Sayonara, bozo. Okay, so this is an interesting area. Usually this swamp is like very empty in both original Oranos and this version of Oranos. Oh, there's gonna be 2 bosses around here. And this one's definitely a Master Ninja Plus. Oh, I got hit by the missiles in the middle of fighting this guy. That's actually really funny. Okay, this is looking so much cooler than it needs to. Yo, dude, I love the stomp in this. The stomp animation is so cool in this. Rings are such a valuable resource in this mod. Oh yeah, something that I want to test is if I can do the stomp boost on one of the enemies. Yes, you can. I'm not sure how useful the applications for that are going to be, but you can. Oh, okay, there's a portal here. Like, yeah, this is the same exact level layout for cyberspace, but everything is so different that it feels like I'm playing a different game. And then you have all of the remixes from the platforming segments on Chronos and everything. Now, it feels like both aspects of this game, both cyberspace and open zone, are, like, completely different from each other. It's not a full-on sequel or anything, but like I said, it almost feels like the definitive edition or something. And I love that just on a whim while you're running, you can instantly curl, and then use that to gain even more speed. You can see it there. I have the speedometer turned on specifically for moments like this. Oh my god. See, like, this is what next-gen Sonic gameplay could be. Oh yeah, and since they removed a lot of the restrictions for, like, what makes you slip, you can just go up most surfaces now without having to worry. Like, look at this, another ramp. And this time, it has, like, the perfect momentum for me to actually get shot off of here. Look at that. Right into the music note. That's peak Sonic Frontiers right there. That's what the game's all about, baby. Dude, like, did you see what I just did? I used my spin dash, and then I immediately jumped so that I could just, like, jump over the gap, like you would in a classic game. And there's, like, this giant monolith tower here that you can actually go inside of and do things with. Wow, and the green emerald's all the way over here on a previously unplayable part of the game. Wow. Wait, that was so cool. Now, the interesting part about this is the green emerald is something that you get from a story mission. So you actually just get this emerald from doing regular Sonic Frontiers gameplay, which is great because I'm not a big fan of the mandatory minigame story missions. This is a segment they use in Chronos Island so you can actually build a rail. Like, it feels like entirely new level design. The way that they're mix-matching it and, like, adding that gimmick from early Chronos Island onto Oranos Island. And then we are going to spin dash up here, grab some momentum from the hill, and then we're gonna glide all the way over into this wall, and then we're gonna see what awaits us up here. Dude, 2v1s in Sonic Frontiers with the new Genesis mod. Like, just think about the potential here. Combo community, I'm calling you on. This is an official challenge. I need you to defeat both of these with New Genesis at the same time. But yeah, in a nutshell, that's the Starfall Island mod, and that's the New Genesis mod. So much crazy, crazy potential here. I wish I could show off a lot more, but I honestly just don't have the time. And if you're new here, please check out the modding playlist, as this is the kind of usual stuff I do in between every major game release, because I love playing my weekly DLC packs thanks to the community.